Hi, I'm Elaine Mills, an Extension Master Gardener with Master Gardeners of Northern Virginia, here on a chilly spring day to talk about a beautiful but invasive tree, Callery Pear, Pyrrhus calleriana. When I use the term invasive, I'm referring to a very specific definition that was outlined in two executive orders. The first was one signed by President Clinton in 1999. That was Executive Order 13112. And this was followed in 2016 by Executive Order 13751, signed by President Obama. Those documents state that an invasive species, in this case a plant, is not native to the area in which it is found growing. Its seeds or other plant parts can allow it to escape from cultivation and spread to natural areas, and it can thereby cause harm either to the economy, the environment, or to the health of humans, animals, or other plants. Callery pear was first introduced to the United States from Asia in the early 1900s. This was in an effort to combat the disease fire blight that was affecting the common pear tree. Bradford, a disease-resistant thornless cultivar, was developed and became very popular because of its beautiful, abundant spring blossoms, its attractive fall foliage color, and its ability to grow in many tough conditions. By the 1960s, the Bradford pear was very widely planted, both as a street tree and in home landscapes. It wasn't until some years later, when these particular trees matured and reached their full height, that a serious downside of the cultivar became apparent. This tree has very narrow branch angles, with the branches going almost straight up. And this makes them very susceptible to breakage, both from wind and heavy ice and snow accumulations during the winter. And you can see how a number of these branches have had to be cut off. And in fact, a very large branch pulled off in a winter storm here and created this serious tear. In the 1980s, additional Callery pear cultivars were developed and became available in the horticulture trade. The Bradford pear had originally been considered sterile and not capable of producing fruit, but once these other cultivars were planted, there was cross-pollination going on between them, and it turned out that they could, in fact, produce fruit. This fruit attracted many birds, particularly starlings, who would consume the fruit, then fly away to other areas, excrete the seeds, and then the new seedlings would grow up in those areas away from the original plantings. Young seedlings could even begin developing their own fruit and seeds within as little as 3 years. And the spread then continued into our meadows, agricultural areas, and forests, where these plants create a huge monoculture, suppressing the growth of native plants. In the springtime, if you drive up and down our roadsides and highways, you'll see miles of white as these cultivars are blooming. One final problem I haven't mentioned yet is that with this cross-fertilization, Callery pear can sometimes revert back to its original very thorny form. And you can see some of these dangerous thorns right here. Callery pear and all of its cultivars are now designated as invasive in 29 states. Unfortunately, the plant is still sold in the nursery trade. If you have not yet purchased one, I encourage you not to plant one. But if you have one, I will give you some tips on how you might remove it. First of all, should you have some small saplings, the advice is not to try to mow those down. That will simply encourage resprouting. If you have a small tree shorter than 6 feet, it's recommended that you use a chemical treatment, an herbicide, in the form of a foliar spray. You would want to spray all of the leaves, and this can be done anytime from when the tree begins showing its leaves all the way until just before the fall color develops. If you have a taller tree like this, you would want to cut it down and then thoroughly paint the exposed stump surface with a concentrated herbicide. I suggest that you check with the website for the Virginia Department of Forestry to determine which herbicides they're recommending, either for the foliar spray or for the painted treatment of the remaining stump. One other option is to follow up on what some local jurisdictions are doing. They are offering exchanges. They will provide free young saplings of native trees as replacements for any Callery pears that you remove from your property. So look out for those opportunities. Luckily, there are a number of wonderful native trees that make excellent replacements for invasive Callery pear.
The first native alternative to invasive Callery pear that I would like to suggest is flowering dogwood, Cornus florida, which is both the state flower and the state tree of Virginia. This small tree grows 15 to 30 feet in height and is pyramidal to flat-topped in shape with a low horizontal branching habit. It is commonly found in the forest understory and grows best where it can receive partial shade from strong summer sun. It also benefits from light mulching to maintain soil moisture and supplemental water during periods of drought. Flowering dogwood is a tree with multi-season interest, beginning in the spring when it's covered with showy white petal-like bracts. These frame its yellow-green flower clusters, which attract small bees and syrphid flies. At times, the bracts can be pink-tinted. As the flowers begin to fade, the tree leaves out with oval medium-green leaves with smooth edges. You'll note the characteristic curved veins that follow the contour of the leaves. In late summer, dogwood's green fruits mature to red, providing food to songbirds, woodpeckers, squirrels, and chipmunks. And in the fall, the tree puts on a display of bright foliage in shades of red to purple. The second tree I would like to recommend is one of our native serviceberries, Amelanchier arborea. Downy serviceberry is a small multi-stem tree, 15 to 25 feet in height. This woodland species grows in sun to part shade, and flowers and fruit will be most prolific the sunnier the site. Its clusters of fragrant five-petaled flowers appear before the leaves in spring, providing an important early source of nectar for native bees. A little later, the foliage will provide nourishment for the larval stage of the red-spotted purple butterfly and many moth species. By early summer, serviceberry's edible fruit matures from red to purple. It can be harvested for use in pies or jams and shared with numerous bird species. In fall, its foliage takes on bright yellow, orange, and red fall color. A third native alternative to invasive Callery pear is fringe tree, Ceananthus virginicus. This lovely tree is usually multi-stemmed and slowly reaches a maximum height from 20 to 35 feet. It can grow in a range of sun exposures from sun to shade in moist, well-drained soil. Fringe tree's outstanding feature is its fragrant flower clusters, which bloom from mid-May to early June, attracting bees. Fringe tree is a dioecious species, meaning that male and female flowers are born on separate plants. When pollen is carried from male plants to female plants, olive-like fruit will develop. This ripens to deep purple in late summer, providing food to birds and small mammals. The tree also serves as a larval host to several sphinx moths. Whichever of these three native alternatives to invasive Callery pear you choose, I wish you happy gardening.